Hello my angels, welcome back to my channel. Today we are getting back into bullet journaling. It is finally the end of 2020, which means that you are going to be seeing, if you look up bullet journaling, a lot of videos about the 2021 setup. So this is going to be mine. My name is Amanda Weldon. If you are new to my little cozy nook of the internet, I'm so glad to have you here. And if you're returning, welcome back. Now this setup, I'm not gonna lie, it took me 2 days to plan out mentally, to kind of plan on different sheets of paper, to do some research and find some inspiration from other bullet journalers who have been in the game much longer from me. And in 2020, I first started doing bullet journaling. Now, again, if you're new to this channel, October and September were kind of the first time that I dove into any type of bullet journaling. So I am still new, and if you are a new bullet journaler, welcome especially to you. Please don't be intimidated by anyone's art on the internet. You're constantly just going to be continuing to get better. Now, the theme of this bullet journal, I really want it to be my mantra, once again, make your own momentum. And in that, make your own magic as well. So this front cover page, I just liked the idea of having hands included. On Pinterest, I had been pinning a ton of photos with hands. And for some reason, I just was really drawn to that and some magic as well in the in-between. I've never really been a big purple person, but lately lavender has definitely been my color. And I thought that I would pull that into 2021 as well. And yellow is actually the color of this bullet journal. 2021, the Pantone yellow and gray, and I actually will have a giveaway going on my Instagram, so be sure to check that out. I chose to go with the yellow, and the gray will be the giveaway. So for this journal, I started off with those hands because the idea of making your own momentum is really in your hands. The idea of starting something new or believing that you can go forward with that. So for the next page, the 2020 goals, focus, affirmation, and reminders. I'm going to be going through all of my personal ones in a separate video, so be sure to subscribe if you are interested in those, or a self-guided journaling video that's going to be coming out very shortly, and in January specifically as we set our goals. So for this one, I was really inspired by the queen herself, a fellow Amanda Rach Lee. Now, she did this kind of spread for her 2020 setup, and I just loved it so much, and I was very inspired by that. I like the idea of setting goals, affirmations, and even a focus for the year a little bit earlier in the year, because it's really cool to go back and look at it later. Did I stick to it? Or when you're really waffling in between your direction and your vision for that year, you can go back to this page and it can just remind you of where you want to be focusing, where you want to be headed, and what goals you set out for this whole year. I know that a lot of people are in the category of not loving to set goals, or what I guess we would say is resolutions for the year. But I love setting goals, and there is something truly magical for me in my mind about January 1st that just gives us that fresh start. And I know that every single day is a fresh start, but there is just something a little bit more magical about January 1st. And after the year we've all had, I'm sure we could all use a fresh slate. My future log, I am obsessed with. I was creating this out, counting all the dots. It was very tedious writing down all of the numbers for the month, but it was also super cathartic and it was very relaxing. I hadn't watched Emily in Paris yet, so I just threw that on in the background and just got to it. And I really loved the simplicity of doing the little splotches at the top of the lavender and then writing the month over top. I think that's one thing that's really important that I learned when I started bullet journaling and I wanted to get into it, was figuring out what layer goes first. So often in this bullet journaling process, I'm just thinking, oh, I wish this was Illustrator, or I wish this was Procreate, where I could just press the back button and then, you know, try it again. But when it comes to pen, you can't exactly do that. So I counted all of these out with pencil, which I highly recommend you do if you are as well a beginner. And then I did my colors as much as I could first. Now, in through the months, for example, I'll show you this a little bit more close up. In through the months, I would also put out kind of like a list, not only in the month, but then also the little dots where I actually do have a couple of things below there. I covered those as well. I thought that was like such a nice little pop when it came to the month at a glance, because when you see the highlighted number, you know, ooh, yep, there's something special going on that day. So that definitely caught my attention for sure. The next thing in the next section, when you do a bullet journal setup, one thing that I didn't want to do was set my fitness goals for a full year. That I find really needs to go in the month category. And I'm also going to be doing another video on how I set up January. So that is through my last few months of trying to figure out how I want that set up. I'm really happy with how that turned out. But this is things to check out. And this is something that I find really fun, because you get to really look back year after year at what you were interested in or when you heard of something new. So I put movie, music, podcast, and place, hoping that we will be able to go to places soon. And also, I have become a reader. I had never labeled myself as a reader growing up. My brother was the reader, I was the athlete, and I was like, you know what, I can't be the reader in my family because I already have this label, so I will label myself as the non-reader. And slowly throughout this year, I have been starting to read, and I love it. Guys, what labels are we putting on ourselves that just we shouldn't be? So I am now a reader, and I decided to do a book tracker. This is going to be the first book tracker I have ever created, and I'm excited to see how that goes. I also opened up a Goodreads, so officially we are a reader. On the next page, when it comes to tracking, I really want to start tracking some stats for here on YouTube. I love being here, and I love connecting with you guys and talking about self-growth and how to make your home as hygge as possible and all of these things. So my YouTube tracker, I did monthly earnings, because I'm actually taking the little bit of money that I make every single month and putting it into a completely separate account in my bank account, so that I don't touch it, but it becomes this cool nest egg that I pretend doesn't even exist. I want to write down collaborations that I had throughout the year as well, or trying to search out collaborations to get each month at least one. And then my subscriber count. It could be very motivating, and to see the amount of content that you put out to compare to how your subscriber rating counted, and doing postmortems every month, seeing what videos performed and resonated with people within your subscribership and which ones didn't. So on the next page, though I am tracking the pages I am reading, I am also tracking the notes in my bank account. I want to really account for income, spending, saving, and big picture things. On my big picture jar, you will see in a second, that is where I put a couple of hash marks. So I want to fill that out as I go. There are a couple things I definitely want to save for: buying a home and upgrading from a condo into a freehold, hopefully, and I hope that 2021 will be a year that I can do that despite COVID. I also put income, because unlike someone who works a 9-to-5 all the time, I'm doing freelance work and working on call and working part-time in different spots. So because of that, my income does vary, and I've never really nailed down exactly how much I make per month. And that will all help me create a budget as well, which is another thing we're really going to be focusing on this year. Now, the last page is my guide page, and one thing that's so important about this, and I learned this again from Amanda Rachley, I will put her below. If you are into bullet journaling, I guarantee you've already heard of her, and if you haven't, don't feel bad, you will very soon. She basically taught me about this keeping a guide, and it's depending on what bullet journal you have. Now, I did put the numbers and the horizontal and vertical lines here on this demonstration. So if you did get this exact journal, then I've already counted them out for you, so no worries. You can just count out those dots and make your guide. This is from month to month when you do little sections that require a box that's 3x2 or 2x4, things like that. Those are already counted for you, so you don't have to count all of the dots on your page once again. You can just refer to it. I always suggest having that on the left side of your page, not the right side, because then when you're flipping, you can do that comparison, and that really helps. We've also got the guide and the key on the same page. Now, I have included my key here, and that is between tasks, complete, in progress, migrated, scheduled, canceled. If it's an event, a note, YouTube, birthday, or travel, fingers crossed. And then important, the key is going to be something that I use during the month. on my day to day, and that is the true bullet journaling part of the bullet journal. From month to month, I am pretty impressed with how this came out. I think that this is gonna really set me up for success. And one thing that I wanna note, sometimes when you're setting up your bullet journal, if you put too many things, it might be hard for you to actually accomplish all of those things. And not to say that you won't accomplish them, but don't put too much on your plate right away. Month to month, you can also put on a couple of trackers, and within that week as well, that can kind of help you stay accountable to the tasks that you actually want to complete. Something like a book tracker makes sense to have in the full setup of 2021. Not only for calculating how many books I read that year, but also reading a book takes some time, so it will be a little bit more sustainable to have in the full month. So I am thrilled with how this came out. Also, if you make mistakes, that's totally okay. Don't worry about it. I made a mistake within the process of doing this video, and it just happens, so don't let it hold you back. I hope that you guys have a great day, and good luck with the setup of your bullet journal. I'm sure you will be watching quite a few videos here on YouTube, but I would love if you would stick around for my future ones coming up. We're going to be talking the month of January, as well as just a couple of other motivational videos, especially when it comes to workaholism in January, because sometimes setting those goals, whew, it can get pretty tough. I hope you guys are having a good day. I love you to the moon and back, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.